can you make more than 30? Can you make more than the average $30,000 that the average American makes with this platform? Easily. Almost doesn't matter what number you start out with. If you make an investment grade, if you make a investment decision instead of just playing around, you put $100 in, you're playing around. You put $1,000 in, you're making a life-changing decision. Right. You put $10,000 in, you're gonna be rich.
Dun, 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 dun. What's up, folks? It's your boy MMG Smurf here, coming to you as a recording. And today we have to talk about the Elephant.money in the room. So that's my little joke on Elephant.money. That's the website, Elephant.money. But specifically the Elephant token, as well as the entire ecosystem, how it's been making an uproar in certain DeFi circles lately. This token project, I should say, has been around for about a year now. But most recently, the Elephant token associated with the project has just been on an extreme bullish tear. And truly, it's been bullish for its inception. I watched it go from practically nothing all the way to where it's at now, which is still really, really low, back in like the Shiba Inu token prices right now. But it's making a crazy climb. So maybe people get to that Shiba Inu billionaire status. Who knows? We'll also be talking about the rest of the ecosystem, so the Trunk and Stampede part of the system. Going through an AMA with Bank Teller. Bank Teller is the developer behind this token. And for those that don't know who Bank Teller is, I found Bank Teller back in the Tron days. They were previously over in Ethereum developing and stuff like that, but I found them back in Tron. And this is the developer who's actually I was about to say to blame, but responsible for us having projects like Drip. So 4X Shark, as many people know them, actually forked Drip and made some changes to the code from Bank Teller's project, which was known as Flow. And so Bank Teller did a few too many tweaks to Flow, and they had other projects and stuff like that, but too many tweaks to Flow, and it ended up kind of ruining the project. And so 4X took it and did their own thing with it, moved it over to Binance Smart Chain, which was a newer blockchain at the time. It was just getting its feet under it and stuff like that. People have really been only using Binance Smart Chain for about 4 months or so at that time. So it was a great time to make that transition, and the rest is history. But what really interested me about Bank Teller when I first found out about them was they would say things in their AMAs like, and as well as people like Trayvon James and stuff would mention Bank Teller, and that they had lived off of Bank Teller's projects, that they were actually able to make so much money off of Bank Teller's projects. They were able to live off of Bank Teller projects. Bank Teller mentioned they were able to live off their own projects, as well as things like, I forget the name of the gambling website right now, but the dividends that come off of some of these gambling websites. And the Bank Teller was doing that for a while. And then they started living on their own project. But it just gave me the feeling that this person had been in the DeFi and crypto ecosystem for long enough to have experienced some of these passive income earning mechanisms that you could actually live off of. So I wanted to pay attention to them and things they had to offer and say. So that's just kind of our introduction to things. So before we get into the AMA segment of today and actually hearing some of Bank Teller's own words, because I do have some interesting information as far as that goes, I think we should go over to the Elephant.money website. So that's where we're going to head to. All right, so here's the Elephant.money website, and again, it's Elephant.money. This is on the Binance Smart Chain, which I think is a good choice for it to be on Binance. The only other blockchain I could see it being on right now would be like maybe Phantom or Avalanche as like other good blockchain options. And I just wanted to throw that in as my 2 cents. But we look at the market cap. This market cap for it, $367 million for the Elephant token, and $16 million for the Stampede token. Now that might not be the market cap total. That might be just like how much is in, I don't know, the fully diluted valuation, but I'm pretty sure that's right. So what do we want to do next? I could use that menu there on the side, or we could push this go button. I think that's going to take us pretty much to the same place. Yeah. So they're going to ask me to connect my wallet, and not much difference there, I don't think, honestly. But just a little bit more analytics information on this platform. And so what we get from the Elephant.money really touched, it broke it's at 4 now. It was 3.38 whatever this number is a little bit ago, but now up that much higher. So yeah, I just want to cover Elephant.money because what is this? This is a reflect token, so an RFI reflect token. And what does a reflect token mean in cryptocurrency? For those that don't know what type of token this actually is, these are the type of tokens that you see like a lot of the SHIB or like a Shiba, Inu or Satan, whatever the heck type of tokens, random tokens, they just have that tax on them. So they have a tax on buys and sells. And that's really what I want to say there. And so the importance with those tokens, and the most popular one of these type of tokens, of Reflect tokens, for those that don't know the full history of like the RFI token and stuff, is SafeMove. And for those that are more familiar with Drip, BR34P, BREAP is a RFI or Reflect token. And so these tokens have sales or taxes on the buys and sales of these tokens. And usually, and the important part of these tokens is, what do they do with that taxed income? And so some of these tokens will take that taxed income and they'll send it to like a developer wallet or something. Others of these tokens will send it to a specific wallet that's then tied up to another smart contract that provides liquidity. Some of them will use that money to send it to a wallet that'll then be used to buy up the tokens, buy up their own token, and then burn some of it. It really just depends on the tokenomic structure, the economic structure, whatever you want to consider that, of what that buy and sell tax is doing, how much of that is being used toward marketing, developer fees, etc. So here with this token, I believe there's like nothing going toward developer fees. I believe it's just going toward, there might be some going toward marketing, but I believe from what I heard from a bank teller, and we're gonna listen to some of this, but if you want to get the full video, look up CryptoZoa and their AMA with bank teller, and you can just watch the entire thing, but I'm gonna only pull out a few seconds of it. But what I gathered from it was that portions of it were going into the treasury smart contract and the what they call graveyard, and then prioritizing liquidity. Prioritizing building up liquidity within that, and there it goes, went back down a little bit. But that's what they were prioritizing with the buys and sales tax on this token. And I think that liquidity measure is a really important one, because the more liquidity you have, the more stable a token can be. So I'm going to push the back button instead of using this menu at the time, and we're just going to go back to, and that's just Elephant. There's not really a whole lot on the website for Elephant, other than just, I think, your ability to maybe buy it here. But you can also just, let's go back and see for sure. Yeah, I think they give you the smart contract or the token address. But you can also just buy that. So you can buy it here, obviously, or you can just buy it off of PancakeSwap if you have the token address. But maybe you want to go there to get the token address. So the other thing with this platform is the trunk. So the trunk / Stampede section of the platform, and as you can see here, it says 67.2% to all the way through 205% APR. And so what does this mean? Is that you have a 205% APR. You're gonna be making 0.56% daily from utilizing this system here, the trunk / Stampede system. And they had that -2 because of, let me see if they pop the rest of the information here. At the top here, if you were to just stake in some tokens, so they have like two functions of it. One where you can just turn your BUSD into trunk tokens, and then from there your trunk tokens can be staked in this, and you can always withdraw the tokens, so it's still liquid assets, but you can always withdraw those tokens, and you'll be earning 67% APR on those. And then the other option that you have is to use it a little bit more like Drip, where whatever you deposit is in the contract, your deposit is gone basically, and then you're earning off of that deposit continually, as long as you hydrate or roll, which is what Drip says and what this original developer decided for that to be, or you can just claim right away. But doing so, you'll be earning a 205% APR, which is that 0.56% daily. And this is for it'll basically 2x your money, right? So whatever you put in there is basically gonna come out as a 2x. And it's a guaranteed 2x pretty much for the system, as long as there's like no major flaws with this system. And why is that? Why am I saying that? Again, I'm not a financial advisor or anything like that. It's not financial advice. But how could that be a guaranteed 2x? Drip doesn't guarantee a 2x. It guarantees you the payout in that token, right? You get the Drip token. And true, in this situation, you're getting that trunk token. However, since it's not just 200%, it's 205%. That is what guarantees that 2x, because the trunk token is actually a stable coin token. And so trunk and BUSD are paired together at a 1 to 0.99% ratio. And so if you deposit 1 BUSD, you're going to get 0.99 trunk tokens. And that extra goes into feeding the elephant ecosystem, etc. But that keeps everything stable, and this is a stable coin. And so at this point in time, I wanted to run through the Nomics token charts and show you guys that, like, you can take my word for it, but doing your own research is always the best strategy with this. So let's look at that. Here is the chart for the trunk token, Elephant.money stable trunk. That's what it's listed at. Let's pop it out to the 1 year, and this is what you would expect a stable coin to look like. So there's the inception, goes down from that initial listing price or initial listing, where maybe people were like trying to rush into it or whatever, and it was a little bit more expensive. But then it stables out, and it's made to stay stable. So it's stable this entire time. Maybe it goes up a little bit, maybe it goes down, but it's going to stay right at this line for its entirety, and that's what stable coins are supposed to do. So it's a stable coin, and that's why they can guarantee that certain amount. Now, on the other side of things, when we look up the, I can't believe this changed. When we look up the Elephant token, this one is not a stable coin. Again, this is the Reflect token. And what does a Reflect token mean? That means that, again, there's that buy and sell tax on it. And also, I didn't mention this before, but with Reflect tokens, just simply holding that token gets you more of those tokens. And again, if you're familiar with SafeMoon or BREAP, then you're used to that. But let's say you started off with 100 of these tokens. Simply by holding that token, you're gonna eventually have 101 tokens, 102 tokens, 103 tokens. It's gonna keep going up as other people buy and sell. There's a part of that token that is meant to take those buy and sells, that 10% that comes out of those usually, and distribute it to everybody else who's holding tokens. And so that's going to continuously happen throughout the lifespan of the token. So even if the token were to, like, if there's a whale in the project and they were to just dump on the token at some point, that's going to distribute more of those tokens to other users. And so here's a part that I actually have not looked up myself yet. I've seen other Bank Teller look up this portion, and then recently I saw Aussie DeFi look up this portion. So let's look at this holders really quickly before we get into it, the AMA section. And these two top holders, and so this is really important to do whenever you're looking at a new cryptocurrency project. Go to BSC scan, and don't just look at the addresses in the project. There's only 10,000 addresses in the project. It's still really early, honestly. Drip has like almost 10 times this now in the project. So imagine if this catches up to Drip and does a 10x from here. Everybody who's in Elephant right now is going to be really wealthy. But what you want to pay attention to in tokens is like, let me go actually give you guys an example. We'll go to, do I want to go Shiba Inu? We can go Shiba Inu. So let's see, as long as they give this to me. Okay, so this is an example of the SHIB holders. So we have over 1 million holders, right? And then when we click the holders button, well, it's not horrible, but you got this null address. So that's where they're burning the tokens with 41% of all the SHIB tokens. You got Binance holding almost 10% of all SHIB tokens. You got this SHIBX token address, so like the little protocol they have with it, with 4% of the tokens. And this is not even, this really is not that bad. But if you had a bunch of these people load up together, all these people that have 1% of the token, they could maybe do something against the token. But you need all these ones. And some of these are exchanges. Like that's OKX's exchange, KuCoin is an exchange. Those two together have a little bit over 1%. These addresses right here, though, are probably just normal people addresses. This might be a dead address. But these are probably just normal addresses. People that are actually whales in the project. So SHIB wasn't the best example. But what I wanted to show there is that basically that users themselves, if they have so many of the tokens, can threaten the longevity of the project, the potential of the project dumping, because they have so many of those tokens, right? And so SHIB actually looks fairly safe at this point. I mean, it doesn't. I've seen worse. Is what I'm looking at. I'm like, I've seen way worse than what I'm seeing with SHIB right there. What I want to do is maybe like grab one of these new tokens. So here, I'm going to give you guys an even better example, right? We're going to grab one of these tokens. It's just brand new. So I'm going to click on the new thing. And where's Wally? Let's go with this one right here. It says Aurora. It's 300-some thousand been used on it. It's an Avalanche token. Let's see what the holders of this token look like. It's been too much time on this portion, but it's a good learning lesson. So just get this in. All right, this is a better example to a degree. And so this top address, we don't know what this address is, right? It's maybe a developer address. It's holding 15% of the tokens. It's not a smart contract though, because it doesn't say contract. And so that's already sketchy. But 6% to one of the smart contracts. The only other smart contract has 4%. So 10% is held by these two smart contracts. 15% by this unknown wallet address that can just dump on the market at some point. And if it decides to dump, they can move the entire market and then they can buy back up, and they can continuously forever move the market of this token, whether that's a dev or whoever. They have way too much control over the token at this point. And so that's just an idea of like how that can be dangerous. Now these other addresses don't really have very much of the token, 0.4%, 0.4%, 0.4%. If they all gang up and decide to do something at the same time, they can move it a little bit. But the strongest one is this unknown address right here, which if we were to click on, let's see who the hell this is. Somebody with $76,000 in their stuff. They're making swaps in and out of USDC. Do they have any other tokens? They only got 3 tokens. It's probably a developer address, honestly, because they only have the Aurora token and USDC. So I imagine it's some type of developer address. But that's that lesson. Going back to the Elephant.money one. Okay. And so this would just make it look that much bullish for the Elephant token scenario. Out of all the other tokens that we just looked at, none of these other tokens have a smart contract which holds 50%, more than 50% actually, of all the total tokens. And I believe this is called the graveyard address for this one right here. And so this is the graveyard one that bank teller will later refer to. The other address, which is the treasury address, again, these are both smart contracts, holds 20% of the total tokens. So we got 50 and then 20% of all the tokens, and that, just simply by holding these tokens, they're going to continuously earn more and more tokens as well. So 70% of all the tokens in the Elephant.money are held by smart contracts. It cannot be altered, etc. Another contract, the Elephant.money, 5%, and then another 3%. So about 80%, all but 20% or so of these tokens are held up in smart contracts, which help the system move, maneuver in the market, etc. And so that's actually one of the most, of all the tokens we looked at today, that's the most bullish scenario of all these tokens that we looked at in terms of holders. There's only 10,000 holders right now. And then compared to the million from SHIB and the 90,000 from Drip, about, and then whatever the other token had, it doesn't really matter. But this is the most bullish looking scenario. Well, once we drop down from these smart contracts, what do we have in terms of tokens? 0.6%, 0.5%, 0.4, 0.3, 0.3, 0.3, 0.2. Not enough. You need a bunch of these are considered whales too. So you need a bunch of these whales to get together to even be able to do anything against the smallest. You need 5 of these whales to continue, come together, decide they're going to do something at the exact same time, and then they could only take out about 1% of the liquidity smart contracts or something like that. They're not going to do anything versus these graveyard and treasury contracts, which are both made to actually buy back up the token at tops or lows or whatever the heck. And they have enough liquidity, or they have enough of the tokens to actually do so in a significant way when you have 50 or 70% between the two of those contracts. Nobody's going to be able to outmaneuver those two contracts. It's impossible, pretty much. But that's what we're looking at with this. Woo! All right, let me see. What else I want to go and talk about topics? I wanted to make sure I stayed on my topics today. So, got that. Oh yeah. Just the chart here. So the Elephant.money chart is what I would consider the most bullish chart in crypto right now. And we just looked at the Binance BSC scan analytics of it a little bit. But when we look at this chart itself, and we're going to push this to the monthly breakdown, that looks really, really bullish. It's only up and to the right pretty much. And not to say that there aren't some red candles for a little bit there. And when I break it into this next section, you're going to see even more red on the chart. But the fact of the matter is, whenever it does go red, it's immediately eaten up. And when I go to the AMA section of this video, Bank Teller is going to explain that a little bit. And it's going to be in 2x speed because I want to get through it quickly. But again, if you're really interested in listening to it, look up CryptoZoa and Bank Teller AMA and YouTube, and you'll be able to find that. So let's extend this a little bit. This is pretty much the longevity of the token because the rest of it's going to look really solid like that. Goes up a little bit. So this is the most volatility that it had to the up and down side. But again, if you're holding the token, you're still earning during this entire period because it's a reflect token. And then since about January 20th, 21st, the token has done nothing but go up and to the right at about what I average to be about 1 to 3% daily. And then most recently, we've been seeing, double-digit increases daily consistently for the last about month. about a month of nothing, double digits. It's just like I was trying to wait for it to come back down, and it just did not come down. It kept going up like 10%, 10%. And I would notice during the day that it would go down, 10, it'd go down 10 or 20% during the day. But then within a few minutes, it would be eaten back up immediately. And I was like, how is it doing that? How is it doing that? So I had to do some more research, and that's when I found out the information about the graveyard portion of it, the treasury portion of it, in this recent AMA from Cryptozoa and stuff, where Bank Teller actually explained some of that stuff. But yeah, and then seeing, when you see this, and you see that 50% and that 20%, that explains why it's getting eaten back up immediately. Because I was a little confused. I was like, wow, well, something in the ecosystem is working really well to stop the token from crashing. And so as more and more people jump in, the smart contract going to do their thing. But if people are jumping in and buying the token as well as those smart contracts, this is just going to get more and more bullish, and it's going to keep going to the upside, up 31% today. What other token is doing this day over day? Oh my goodness. There's like nothing else doing this day over day, guys. It's not happening. 646% in the month. For everybody out there who's a big Dogecoin fan, Doge is up about 700 or so percent in its lifetime. And people are like, Doge made me richer, this or that. 700% in its lifetime. You could have got that from this token in the last month, and it has better tokenomics than Doge. It's not just going to print to infinity. It's way better than Doge. So I'm not a financial advisor, but this is crazy. It's kind of crazy. So next portion of things that I wanted to cover was that AMA with Cryptozoa. This is a known DeFi figure in the space. And then Bank Teller. And I'm sorry to the other person who's in there. I'm not sure that I know your name. What does it say? Cryptozoa. Yeah, I don't know his name. I don't know. I actually don't know either of these guys by face, but I just know the channel. So here we go. Let's play some of this audio and get those answers done for you guys. Actually, I'm going to turn it down from 2 to about 1.5 because I think that's a little bit more for more people's ears to hear.
What Elephant.money is right now is probably one of the best places in the industry to earn yield on stablecoins, and that's and with that system, it also happens to implement a permissionless universal basic income where anyone can be the payer, anyone can be the benefactor, and I think that's really magical and special. And I think the adoption that we're seeing is, people see it now. People see it now, and we've worked a long time as a community to get to this point.
Right. So I hear you saying that it's so Elephant.money is basically all of your experiences put together to provide basically money for anyone, universal basic income for everyone.
So that was just what Elephant.money is. It's the purpose of it is
what I'm kind
to
of
create this universal basic income for anybody who's actually in the ecosystem. And Bank Teller, again, kind of like to the points that I was making earlier on, they've been trying to do this for years, trying to establish these protocols and these projects. And if you were to go back and look at the bankroll ecosystem on the Tron blockchain, you can see that all worked out, where they just had tons of different projects that you could do, and that are still paying out if you have money left over there. And they said there's a few $1 million still like locked up in that system, but it's just nowhere near as developed and as matured, I should say, as this new system that they have on the Binance Smart Chain.
very basic. Mm-hmm. So that's great. And everyone who's watching, you could feel free to pop your questions in the chat. I know,
all right.
Ali, I saw you.
I'm going to jump around.
Basically, BSC was
So this is the next section that I wanted to cover.
on Bankroll and then on Elephant.
Wow.
I was like, okay. And then basically BSC was having like a DeFi summer, and I was like, okay, let me be responsible and put some of these winnings into stablecoin. So BDO happened and Iron Finance happened.
And we covered BDO and Iron and all these different tokens here at Money Match Gaming. I cover a lot of these on TikTok and on our live streams. But we weren't making individual videos for those at the time. It was just some of them were covered on social media posts, and the rest of them were covered during our live streams, or if you were just a friend of mine and asked me about crypto.
In Iron Finance, there was a point where I was making like $100,000 an hour.
This shit was possible.
I got, that was tough. I really got burnt. So, with very little liquid cash left, I had to take the L, right, and with a $150,000 investment at $15 drip. I had to eat humble pie. I was like, I need to survive. I need to pay my bills.
And so he's saying he had to eat humble pie here with the drip situation. He explains this before, but then him and Forex have a working relationship together. They know each other, as developers in this space and stuff. And Forex had asked him to partner up before. Bank Teller was dealing with their own things at the time, and so he just wasn't on his plate. And then Forex just decided to fork his project anyways and make the changes to it. And the rest is history. Forex became somewhat of a DeFi legend and rock star. And other people that weren't in crypto or were just jumping in 2021 did not know about Bank Teller and what they were capable of, or the fact that Forex had sharked their forked their project.
Like, you know, springtime, summer, and so I threw it into Drip, and then the rest is history. Drip whale.
Wow.
And now I'm not a Drip maxi, obviously, but
Yeah.
I am pretty big in Drip.
So I still have another question with that, but before I just want to interrupt to make this about me. So New Inceptions wrote, "Nice haircut, Mikey," and you know that's actually the best comment that I've seen so far in any AMA. And it's comments like that. You should keep writing comments like that because flattery works, that works, and New Inceptions.
All right. Here's another section. If you were to invest 50,000, what would your strategy be? Wow.
Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Had to go back, and what they really had a problem with was like, you know, the graveyard. Like,
so this is a question more so directed at here. We can go a little earlier so you guys can get what he was talking about.
So they had completely nerfed us. You know, we were super OP. We were going to be in the top 10.
And he's talking about people's issues with Elephant.money when they saw it.
Next week.
Right.
And they nerfed us down to like 5 mil. And I was like, are you kidding me? And so back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Had to go back. And what they really had a problem with was like, you know, the graveyard. They're like, we can't count the graveyard. Graveyard got tokens right at the beginning, right from the deployer address. This does not look right, man. It does not look right. I'm like, dude, what if I told you that the graveyard is the biggest participant in circulating supply? Just because it's not a person, well, that's not fair. Just because it's not a person doesn't mean it's not a participant. The graveyard is key to generational wealth. This is literally a whale that will never dump on you. Every single holder of the elephant token, before they during the discovery phase and during the decision-making phase, before they make a purchase of elephant token, if they're educated, they at least have to consider what the graveyard needs. And when they choose to buy that token, they're saying, yes, we're going to give more value. We're going to enrich everyone who already is a holder by making this purchase and bumping up the price. That includes the graveyard. So it's not like people are going in blind. Like, and my biggest thing was like, how dare you disagree with the wisdom of the crowd? People are buying into this token knowing that there's a graveyard, knowing that there's not a whale within W. But wait, there's more. What if I told you that there's a second whale, the treasury, that's equally greedy, if not more? It will never get as many tokens as the graveyard, which has 50%, 50 to 51%, but it's going to try its hardest to get to 50%. So every time anyone dumps, the graveyard is there to snap, to eat it up. And when the graveyard, the treasury is there to eat it up. And when the graveyard does a rebalance and gives back 1%, the treasury is there to say, yes, finally, I get a break, I get a discount. Because the treasury buys all tops. The treasury buys all tops. And when the graveyard gives up 1%, the treasury is like, gotcha, bitch. I'm going to like buy up these fucking tokens. So like, yeah, and so it's a battle between the graveyard and the treasury, which is very exciting, which leads to supply shock is happening. And it's like the supply shock, people say, well, when supply shock? It's kind of like a train wreck in slow motion. It's already happening. And it's like a perpetual, it's like time dilation where you never get to the end of the train wreck. It's just constantly happening over like millennia. But like the price just keeps going more and more parabolic. So it's not surprising that like, as long as there's attention in market activity and also the steady demand of stablecoin yield, that we're seeing these double-digit days, like especially during the weekday when traders are active and when investors are active. So that's the base underpinning, right? You know, so you have deep liquidity. We're trying to build generational wealth. Our primary stores of wealth are in the locked liquidity pools. No one can move those pools. Those pools the tokens are owned by the protocol, and specifically they're owned by the token contract. So the Trunk BUSD is owned by the Trunk token. The two BNB and BUSD LPs for Elephant are owned by the Elephant token. So the only way to get tokens in or out is to actually make a purchase, and all of the or sale, and the and then the executor contracts. The administrative control that I have is over the executor contracts,
Right.
Which basically massage the liquidity, and it only can massage liquidity by doing an ad.
Right.
There's no remove. I can't remove because those executor contracts don't own the LP tokens. So once the liquidity is added, it can't be removed. So we're married to BUSD, we're married to BNB, and that's just the way it is.
So I just want to address.
All right. So that was a nice little coverage from that portion. Oh, the next, I almost slid right into it. We just wanted to go to this very next portion here at about 1 minute or 3 minutes ago. In this last portion, we'll cover and give my final thoughts on this. But hopefully you guys are learning something about this whole ecosystem today. This is the Elephant.money in the room.
We're still just married to the dollar. And guess what? If you want to buy a car or a house, guess what? You're still gonna pay $1. So, and can you make more than the average $30,000 that the average American makes with this platform? Easily. Almost doesn't matter what number you start out with. If you make an investment grade, if you make a investment decision instead of just playing around, you put $100 in, you're playing around. You put $1,000 in, you're making a life-changing decision.
Right.
You put $10,000 in, you're gonna be rich. You know, as long as the platform continues to run. So let's continue to talk about stability, right? But this 40% stability ratio is important because for sustainability. Let's talk about the stability ratio here though, 40%. This says in this platform, we care about stablecoin US dollar yield. We don't care about what Bitcoin is doing. We don't care about what BNB is doing. We care about the fact that if we put X amount of dollars in, we get Y amount of dollars out. It's just a function. That's all we care about. So we know that like Toyota is, no matter how bad it gets, Toyota is not going to make you pay $60,000 for a Camry. Or actually, you can spec a Camry out for $60,000. Let's say Civic.
Right.
There's something called price elasticity. There's only so much that manufacturers can inflate a price before consumer walk away. So if you continue to scroll down now.
Skip a little bit of this section here.
So the big takeaway from that last stat was those first set of stats is that the system's already paid. It's already there's always debt obligations in the past. People are so worried about the future, they never even looked at what the system's done for the past. Like the system's already paid out that obligation. It already has less obligations to meet, right? So, wow, amazing day. I have not looked at these stats yet today.
All right, I'm gonna leave it at that. And if you want to catch any more of this, of that podcast with Cryptozoa, that's CryptoZoa, and then just type in Elephant.money, Cryptozoa, bank teller. Bank teller is one word, and you can find that podcast. But that's all I'm going to cover today. And what are your opinions? Leave your opinions on this in the comment section below. Of course, like, comment, subscribe. But yeah, I think this is an extraordinary project on the Binance Smart Chain. I'm a little upset with myself for having been following it for so long and only recently got into it over the last few weeks. Because I feel like if I would have got into it back in December or so when I first really started keeping my eye on, I was like, okay, I'm gonna really keep my eye on this thing. If I would have just jumped in then, I would have, I'd be really wealthy right now. It's like, I feel like anybody who was in a little bit earlier with like a decent, as he was saying, you put $100 in, and I tipped my toe in at the first, but you put $1,000 in, you're probably gonna be making some really nice money. You put, like a few $1,000s in, you're really gonna be making some nice money with this project then. And what, from what I've seen with this project so far, that's not a lie. And it's not financial advice, not financial advice, but that don't seem to be a lie from what I've seen from this person in the past and what I'm seeing in this project, presently. So pretty ridiculous. Last thing that I'll leave you guys with is don't forget to, again, like and subscribe to Money Match Gaming. We will be linking our buddy address in the profile for people that do want to join the Elephant Trunk and Stampede sections of this, where you can actually have a buddy address just like Drip. So feel free to use our link and support Money Match Gaming's esports. As far as our esports campaigns go, we're constantly doing events and whatnot, and we will be launching an NFT founders drive, which is actually a flash drive looking NFT, as well as the Money Match Gaming arcade cabinet NFT. They're one and together on the same NFT, but we'll be launching that campaign here soon, so that people that want to support Money Match Gaming, be in on the decision-making process of our esports events and team guild, can actually do that and start joining the community in that capacity, more of a fiscal capacity, instead of just watching and supporting via likes and whatnot. And we do want to have perks and stuff like that. Hopefully you can make it Bored Ape Yacht style, and I'm not talking about get like that big. That would be great if it did, but more so in terms of like the events and stuff like that they're able to hold, where they're able to actually give back to their community in different ways. So we would love for something like that to happen. We'd love to, even if we could just fly everybody out to an event or something like that at someday. That'd be amazing to us. So yeah, with that, thanks for watching. Hopefully you learned something. It's already long enough, so see you in the next one.